technology is at the heart of the progress in the power sector in the Netherlands, as it is in Europe. They have strategically calculated that their overdependence on fossil fuel, for instance. Netherlands is a major gas-producing country since the 1950s. But they realized that they need to diversify and move away from fossil fuel to actually generating energy from other sources, particularly clean, renewable sources. So they first concentrated on wind energy. You know, the Netherlands is called the Low Countries. There is a flat land, and it's not a big country, relatively small, 40-something thousand square kilometers, just the size of Kano, or even less than Kano State. So it is very important for us to realize that technology is what drives the economy, what drives the power sector, even the agricultural sector in Netherlands. So we have to now look at how we are going to harness and adapt technology to our power sector in this country. And it's also important for us to realize that their research institutions and their universities are the ones driving these processes in terms of generating economy, in terms of advancing their power sector to the cutting edge. So for us to benefit from that, we have to sit down with them really to structure our conversation around objectives. Today, we are producing maybe less than 5,000 megawatts of power, and even that, we cannot now offtake it efficiently because of transmission and distribution problems. So where will be the areas that the Dutch or the Netherlands companies will come in order to assist us? The federal government has to make up its mind about really, truly diversifying the power sector and also creating opportunities for other parties to come in. Today at the generating area, we have the generating companies. We have given out the concessions to these companies. How efficient, how effective are these companies in terms of generating power? And then the transmission is now still controlled by the federal government. How wise and how efficient is that policy? Are there some strategic considerations behind it to control the transmission in terms of the ownership of the transmission company or facilities by the federal government? Would it be possible to also diversify and privatize the transmission sector? What harm will it do to the Nigerian economy if that is done? So these are the questions that we need to ask. Then the distribution itself, to off-takers, to industries, to hospitals, to schools, to households. What plans do we have? Now, you have spoken about renewable energy. If you go down the route of renewable energy, how are you going to feed what you have generated into the national grid? Who will be the owner of the transmission of this power that you have generated? At what price per unit are you going to now give it to the to the distribution companies? And the final off-taker, whether it's a household or hospital or school or industry, how much are they going to pay? Will there be a discrepancy between the power produced by the solar or wind farms and then by those that are currently producing in the country? So these are complexities that need to be sorted out by our power institutions in the country. That said, what we need is actually to create discipline in governance, in administration, in terms of controls, in terms of supervision, in terms of compliance. These are the critical areas where we need the government to sit up, to look at these regulatory bodies. Are they doing their work? Are they allowed to do their work? Do they have the requisite knowledge and powers to do their work? Without the efficient and effective involvement of the regulatory agencies, no matter what sort of investment comes into the country, there will be lapses and deficiencies that will defeat the purpose of these investments. So my advice is for the government to really sit down, take a tabletop look at the power sector, dissect it into smaller pieces in terms of the various competencies and roles of the regulatory bodies, and then see where unification can take place in order to harmonize mandates and responsibilities, and also to set targets for each of these units in order to gauge their performance. Without that, I don't think we are going to solve the power and energy challenge in the country. The other issue is the availability of natural gas. We are sitting on top of trillions of square feet, of gas in this country. But always we are told that there is shortage of gas to be supplied to the power stations. Now you ask yourselves, who owns the gas? Is it the Nigerian government or the partners who produce the gas? Under what sort of legal arrangements is gas given to these companies that we cannot even have enough gas to give to our petrochemical companies, our power companies like those in Egbin or Motoshoe and others? What is the problem? So we have to really sit down to do some serious thinking. And also we have to hold the generating companies accountable. For the last 8 or 12 years now, I think, when these concessions have been given to them, what is the rate of their performance? What is the quality of service that they are producing? What is the investments that they have injected into these various generating facilities that they have taken over? So we have to ask questions, because at the end of it all, we are the consumers. We are the ones who are affected. Now, in my state, in Borno State, for instance, I understand that about 14 or 15 local governments are not connected to the national grid. So the state government is spending a lot of money in order to really supply power to these areas. Without electricity, how can you speak of development? It's not possible. So we have to really look at the map of the country to see where the advantage of power sourcing lies. Where can we reap the benefits of wind power, solar power, thermal power, hydropower, gas, and so forth, and then aggregate them together in a way that will now be attractive to investors, whether from Netherlands or anywhere. And also, let us involve Nigerians. There are Nigerian companies that are interested in the power sector, but have they been invited constructively to sit down with the government and other partners to discuss the power sector? I think we need to have a summit on power in Nigeria if we are serious, to discuss all the complexities, all the challenges of the power sector. And then, based on the aggregate outcomes of this summit discussion, then we can decide where to go. That, I think, is a very strategic move that has to be done now. We cannot delay it any further.
I guess there are